Okay, welcome everybody to the first class. I'm happy to see everyone is here. We're doing Chapter 1, Human Resource Management, Gaining a Competitive Advantage. Does anybody know what human resources is? Before we start, what is human resources?
Like, what's their job?
Basically, what is it? What is the purpose of human resources?
Make sure the office is running properly.
In what sense?
The relationship between employees and employers.
Excellent. What else? What else does HR do?
Fire people.
Sometimes. Yeah, the Friday afternoon shuffle. Here's your box. Security will follow you out the building. Yes. Unfortunately, I have done that several times. I've had I had one very ugly situation. Yeah, I had several ugly situations. What else?
Dealing with different problems.
Such as, in the back, what kind of problems can happen at work?
Sexual harassment.
Oh yeah, that can happen at work. That's pretty bad. That's a big one. What else?
Discrimination.
Discrimination.
Abuse.
Physical abuse. If there could be allegations of physical fisticuffs, people fighting with each other. You know, there are companies that people have punched the manager, punched the supervisor. It's a famous story. A professor was murdered in middle class. I'm not giving you guys any ideas. Relax. I don't think anybody's going to take out a nail file and do me in. But they're the glue that holds the organization together. Very, very important. So tonight's learning objectives are to discuss the roles and activities of a company's human resource management function, discuss the implications of the economy, the makeup of the labor force, and ethics for company sustainability, because it's all about sustainability, surviving. Fortunately, we live in such a trying set of circumstances and trying times that companies can't even focus on thriving, more on survival. Discuss how human resource management affects a company's balanced scorecard. We'll talk about that. Discuss what companies should do to compete in the global marketplace. It's very global now. Once the Berlin Wall fell, it was over. All those, the Iron Curtain, China, all that opened up. Identify how social networking, artificial intelligence, and robotics is influencing human resource management. Discuss human resource management practices that support high-performance work systems, and provide a brief description of human resource management practices. Where appropriate, if you look at the bottom of the slide, there is a commentary that kind of goes into it more in depth. Okay? So human resource management plays a role in a company's survival, effectiveness, and competitiveness. It helps you recruit employees. If you have a good human resource department, you have a good company that a good human resource department works for, it'll be easy to recruit. Do you think Apple has a hard time finding people that want to work there?
Probably not.
You think Google has a problem finding people? Google hires, I don't know, like maybe 1% of the people that apply. Do you think Microsoft has a problem finding employees? How many of you would say, nah, I don't want to work for Microsoft? Nah, I don't want to work for Ford. I don't want to work for Mercedes. I don't want to work for Google, right? So it refers to the policies, practices, and systems that influence employees' behavior, attitude, and performance. So competitiveness refers to a company's ability to maintain and gain market share in an industry. In other words, gaining the biggest piece of the pie possible. Competitiveness is related to a company's effectiveness, which is determined by whether the company satisfies the needs of stakeholders, the groups affected. That is really a marketing concept, but it's not necessarily marketing. It just, does the company satisfy its constituents? Important stakeholders include stockholders who want return on investment, customers who want a high quality product or service, and employees who desire interesting work. Spoke about this in last class in organizational theory and behavior, how important it is to have an interesting workplace and reasonable compensation for their services. HRM, otherwise known as Human Resource Management, refers to the policies, practices, and systems that influence employees' behavior, attitude, and performance. Please feel free to stop, even though the class is being recorded. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want to, mess you up. The next thing is figure 1.1, human resource management practices. Why is it sideways? I guess they like doing that. There's a description in the appendix we can jump to. But figure 1.1 emphasizes that there are several important HRM practices, such as analysis and design of work, HR planning, understanding forecasting, who will we need in the next year, recruiting, selection, training and development, so important. One of the parts of HR that is so important is training and development, training new employees and developing them, and training current employees. Compensation, fair payment, performance management, and employee relations. And many of you have mentioned that. So HRM is a strategy underlining these practices needs to be considered to maximize their influence on company performance. As the figure shows, HRM practices include analyzing and designing work, determining human resource needs, otherwise known as HR planning, attracting potential employees, recruiting, choosing employees, selection, teaching employees how to perform their jobs, and the rest of the things mentioned in the slide. And these are all vital functions of human resource management. What responsibilities and roles do HR departments perform? HRM, Human Resource Management, is a means to contribute to profitability, hire the right employees, have the right kind of workplace, a compliant workplace, an ethical workplace, profitability, high quality, other business goals are met. HR is super, super important. Okay? What responsibilities and roles continued? High impact HR functions, more integrated with business. So it's not a separate department, it's integrated, it has tentacles in all departments. More skilled at attracting and retaining employees, can adapt quickly, identify and promote talent from within. Very important that when you're in an organization that you feel that you can grow with the organization. If you work in a dead-end job, what happens? What happens to people that feel burnt out? Now, you can get burnt out in any organization, and you can be motivated in any organization. Somebody flipping burgers at McDonald's can be very motivated, be very happy doing it, and do a great job. Don't judge the type of job. You can have the most interesting job and be demotivated if you have the wrong setting. Identify what motivates employees and continuously building talent and skills. Identifying what motivates employees is kind of like the sister aspect of in consumer behavior in marketing. We try to gauge and understand why people buy certain things, why people engage in certain behaviors. Well, we do the same thing in human resources. We want to understand what makes you tick, what motivates you to work. Kind of jumping ahead, one of you mentioned when I asked the question, what do you know about HR? Well, they deal with sexual harassment. Now, there's a subset in that called hostile work environment. If you are in a hostile work environment, even if it's not sexual harassment, even if it's racism or just a nasty workplace, that's going to affect the bottom line. People are not going to feel safe. I mentioned this in other classes. The circle of safety that Simon Sinek talks about in his book, Leaders Eat Last, will not exist. People need to feel safe at work. Just think about it in college. You come in first day of class, and I hope you don't feel this way about me, but let's say the professor is a standoffish person, basically tells you how smart he or she is, and kind of intimates that you're not as smart as me. And you better do your work, You feel threatened. You feel threatened, what happens? You don't come to classes often, you're disengaged. Yeah, you'll do the work because you want to get a good grade, but you're not going to get the full effect of the class because you don't feel welcomed, you don't feel safe. You like the class, you like your work environment, you like your surroundings, you want to come there, right? Continuously building talent and skills. And this is where training and development goes in. If you don't invest in your employees, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. You may save money in the front end, but lose tons on the back end because people are going to feel like, you don't want to invest in me. I feel like, why do you think people burn out? Just let's have a discussion about it. Why is there employee burnout? Employee burnout happens because people feel that they've hit a wall. They've basically hit a wall where they can't pass. There's nothing more for me to learn. And when you get to that point at work, what happens to you as an employee? You become destructive, disruptive, and disengaged. By the way, if you want the lights back on, feel free to turn it on. There's a device here in the room that turns it off every half hour. All right, table 1.1, responsibilities of HR. Analysis and design of work. Recruitment and selection. Training and development. Performance management. In other words, creating documents or creating tools that will gauge performance. You have your yearly review or your biannual review. Compensation and benefits, employee relations, labor relations, especially with dealing with labor unions is quite a thing. Personnel policies, employee data and information systems, so you can mine your data. You can know, this person has not gotten a raise in 10 years. We have a problem over here. Or this person has been in this department for this amount of years. Or you want to start looking at, okay, how many men, how many women, how many African Americans, how many Latinos, how many Jewish people do we have at work? Are we focused, do we only have like one type of employee at work? We want to make sure that we have data on everybody and see, are we a diversified employer? Legal compliance with all the different needs. And support for business strategy. And HR is all about that, supporting for business strategy. Just think about it. Strategy, in order to get your strategy accomplished, you need people. HR sells, they sell the concept of hiring the right kind of people. Recruiting, retaining, you cannot do anything in business without having the right people. So they're the people, they're the people finders, if you will. Okay, any questions so far?
No.
Okay, slide number 8. Figure 1.2, HR as a business with 3 product lines: administrative services and transactions, compensation, hiring, staffing, emphasis, resource efficiency, and service quality. You want to make sure that they're posting things in Monster. Are they posting things in are they putting stuff on some other lesser search engine? Number 2, business partner services, developing effective HR systems and helping implement business plans, talent management, emphasis, knowing the business and exercising influence, problem solving, designing effective systems to ensure needed competencies. Strategic partner, contributing to the business strategy based on considerations of human capital, business capabilities, readiness, and developing HR practices as strategic differentiators, emphasis, knowledge of HR and of the business, and knowing how many employees do we need. What is the turnover rate? What is the rate of people leaving? What are we below the industry, which is a good thing? Means less people are leaving. Are we above the industry standards? Are we right in the middle? Do we have the right amount of people? Do we have too little, too much? So understanding of competition, the market, and business strategies. HRM role, human resource management role. HRM stands for human resource management. Time spent on administrative tasks is decreasing. Roles as a strategic business partner change. Agent and employee advocate are increasing. So now we're advocating for our employees. We're doing less secretarial stuff. We're doing more strategic stuff. Shared service model includes centers of expertise or excellence, service centers, and business partners. Central place for administrative and transactional tasks. Okay, let's move on. Technology, reducing human resource role in administrative tasks, maintaining records, and providing self-service to employees. Employee portal. For example, Touro College has an employee portal. Back in the day, before the employee portal, I wanted to find out, I wanted to take care of my direct deposit. I'd have to go, call up Human Resources, they would email me a form, I would fill it out, send it in, wait 2 weeks, you're smiling because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, you go to the Touro One portal, you go to employee, you go to pay stubs. I can get all my pay stubs. I don't have to call HR anymore and ask them, hey, I need my pay stub for it. It's all there. When was the last time, I taught an extra course. Did I get paid for it or not? You don't have to call up central office anymore. You go look at all the courses you got paid for. When you got paid for. What was the purpose of it? Oh, they missed the payment. Let me call them up. Or, wow, I forgot to cash a check. There was one time where they sent me a check because this is before I had direct deposit. I forgot to cash it. I forgot all about it. $700 out of nowhere, thank God, But I would have caught it if I had that technology at that point. I would have known about it. So technology is super, super important for self-service because it ties up it does not tie up the resources that have been tied up in the past. There's a shift to self-service, gives employees access to many HR issues. HR managers have more time to work on employee issues. So less administrative, nitty-gritty kind of stuff, data entry, all that stuff, technology takes care of. Now I have time to focus on the important stuff. Okay? Outsourcing, painful word, synonymous with layoffs Most commonly outsourced activities, benefits administration. Let me tell you something. I work as HR, but that's only one part of my job. I used to take care of the benefits. Oh, what a pain in the neck. I contracted with a company called ADP. They do my payroll. They are literally a one-stop shop. Everything, employee relations, hiring, firing. Am I being fair? Did I, I had to fire somebody last 2 years, year and a half ago. I had to make sure that there's no way that they would have sued me for age discrimination. I had to tell my counterpart how many people are in that department, what is her age, what is the age of all the other employees. Oh, she's in the middle. Is she senior? Is she been there longer than everybody else? What are the reasons you're going to do? Do you have any documentation? Has she been bad in the past? All these questions, because it's outsourced. They do this for me. They're helping me out. If I have a situation where I need to have somebody on disability, I don't have to call up my disability carrier anymore. They are my disability carrier. They will send the employee the paperwork. They will email the employee. The onus is now on the employee, less on me, so I could take care of other strategic things. Relocation, paying for relocation, payroll, big headache, big headache. I do it because I have to do it. Nobody else is paid to do it, but they're so helpful. They have all these tools, great reporting. I'm able to do a myriad of different things, analyze things. Most common reason for outsourcing: cost savings, increased ability to recruit and manage talent, improved HR service quality, protection of the company from potential lawsuits by standardizing processes such as selection and recruitment, improving it, showing reports that we are an equal opportunity employer. We have a healthy balance. I am proud to say that where I work, we are a very, very well-balanced organization. In fact, there are more women working there than men. Okay, and it's a tremendous amount of diversity. People of all walks of life, different countries, different ethnicities, different nationalities, different races, and we all get along just fine, and it's great. You walk in there, you feel like you're in a community. You don't feel like you stand out. I'm the only this type or the only that type. It is well balanced, and I'm very, very proud of that. Strategic role, lead efforts focused on talent management and performance management. Think of it as a high-performance sports team. You want all your players to be eating right, properly conditioned, in a proper state of training, proper state of mind. Just think of any professional sports team. They'd have to be out of the mind if they would skimp on nutrition for their players, skimp on training. In fact, the Yankees fired, last year they fired their health guy, the guy that takes care of training and all that, because they had so many injuries. They realized the guy in charge of making sure that everyone stretches and has the right PT and whatever other therapies they need was not doing their job. So they got rid of him because it's important. So if you have an organization and you don't want to help the employees learn their jobs better, give them the resources, you're really, really giving yourself the short end of the stick. Take the lead in helping companies attract, develop, and retain talent in order to create global workforces. Use and analyze data to make a business case for ideas and proper solutions. Table 1.2, questions to ask. Is HRM playing a strategic role in the business? What is HR doing to provide value-added services to internal clients? For example, what is HR doing to help you, Director of Finance, in finding the next secretary that you need? What are they doing to tell you, let's say there's a performance issue. What is HR doing to help you find out why there's a performance issue? Is there a performance issue because of poor internal training? Are they not hiring the right kind of people? Is it an issue with the management style of that division or that department? Are people not being treated well? Are they, all these questions need to be asked. How are you measuring the effectiveness of HR? How can we reinvest in employees? What are the steps that we could take? What human resource management strategy will we use to get business from point A to B? From an HR perspective, what should we be doing to improve our marketplace position? What's the best change we can make to prepare for the future? Do we react to business problems or anticipate them in advance? Always be a step ahead. Being reactive is not a good stance. Sometimes you have no choice. You don't have a crystal ball. You're not able to always see what happens. But you need to be, to the extent that you can, be able to see what's coming, look at the industry, try to keep up with things. All right. Strategic role of the human resource function. Demonstrating the strategic value of human resource management, HR analytics, and evidence-based human resources. In other words, we've got numbers to prove what we are saying. We're not just pulling a number out of a hat. Requires the use of HR or workforce analytics, and that's what we mean by big data. Information emerged from HR databases, finding out the average age of a manager, the gender, longevity, how long they've been there, corporate financial statements, employee surveys, very important to know what your employees feel about the company, and other data sources, and put them together. Result in evidence-based HR decisions. Because if you have all this data from different facets, you're now able to have a robust, complete picture to be able to present to managers and say, hey, these are the numbers, we've been trending this for the past couple of years, we know what we are talking about. And show that HR practices influence the organization's bottom line, including profits and losses. It's kind of hot in here. Do you mind just opening the window over there? If that's okay with you. If it gets cold?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. The human resource profession, positions and jobs. Primary activities involving performing the human resource generalist roles. It's a general role, a little bit of everything. Fewer HR professionals are involved in the HR function at the executive level of the company. Very few positions in that. Those are the highest paid positions. Training and development, HR consulting, and administrative activities. I used to work in training and development. It's a very, very cool job. You really get to change the lives of your employees. I miss it. Table 1.3, median salaries for HRM positions. Top HR executives, 240 grand. Global HR manager, 121. Management and development manager, 117. Health and safety manager, 101,000. And you can see all the other salaries. They're really, really fabulous salaries. And we mentioned here that she wants to go into HR. I don't blame you. It's a nice job. It's a cushy job, okay? People don't leave HR. They tend to stay as long as possible. People don't leave academia so quickly. They don't leave HR so quickly. Please stop me if you have any questions.
You need to get a master's for that, though.
Absolutely. And I've been trying to get certain certifications. It's just hard while you're working to study for that. There's other reasons why, outside of the purview of this presentation. Education experience, 4-year college or graduate, HR degree, senior HR role, developing and supporting the company's culture, employee recruitment, retention, and employee engagement, succession planning, meaning that if somebody dies, God forbid, or quits, or leaves, or is asked to leave, you have to have the successor ready. Just like in the U.S. government, God forbid something happens to the president, the vice president takes over, then the Speaker of the House, etc., 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 etc. We have a pecking order. We have a hierarchy. You must have succession planning. Somebody retires. Who's going to be considered for the position first? What are the criteria for that? Designing the company's overall HR strategy is very important. Education experience continued, junior HR role, handle transactions related to paperwork, benefits, payroll administration. Oh, you forgot to sign here. It's more of a nitty-gritty kind of job, but again, you need to do that before you get to the top. This way you understand the entire picture. Answering employee questions, data management, professional certification. Most human resource professionals are generalists, lack business acumen, and need 9 competencies developed by SHRM. SHRM certification is very, very, very hard to get. I've been looking at the books. My reason for thinking that SHRM is, for me, it's hard, is because I have been managing a certain way for years. So I have different ways of viewing situations. So sometimes the questions that are asked, I will answer differently because I have a different mindset. So I find it a little bit frustrating, but again, it's still great to get if you can. A lot of information. I did buy the books. They were like $800. My company paid for it. And the books are fantastic. So definitely, if you can get SHRM certification, definitely do it. Here are the 9 competencies that we spoke about in the previous slide. Technical expertise, HR technical expertise and practice. Apply the principles of human resource management to contribute to the success of the business. Business acumen, understanding business functions and metrics within the organization and industry. Kind of like, reading a balance sheet in accounting and understanding it. Critical evaluation, interpret information to determine return on investment and an organizational impact in making recommendations and business decisions. Ethical practice, integrate core values, integrity, and accountability throughout all organizational and business practices, global and cultural effectiveness, manage HR both within and across boundaries, communication, effectively exchange and create a free flow of information with and among various stakeholders at all levels of the organization to produce meaningful outcomes. Organizational leadership and navigation, direct initiatives and processes within the organization and gain buy-in from stakeholders, which is very, very important. You're also going to have that leadership role, that liaison, the cheerleader, try to explain why we're doing this. Consultation, provide guidance to stakeholders such as employees and leaders seeking expert advice on a variety of circumstances and situations. For example, when I gave you that example, ADP, and I was afraid that I would be possibly sued for an age discrimination situation, I spoke to my human resource management senior advisor. She advised me, she told me what to do, how to go about doing that particular function and getting it done right. Relationship management, manage interactions with and between others with the specific goal of providing service and organizational success. Figure 1.4, competitive challenges influencing U.S. companies. So there's competing through sustainability, deal with workforce and employment implications of the economy, understand and enhance the value of intangible assets and human capital, meet the needs of stakeholders, emphasize customer service and quality, recognize and capitalize on demographics, and deal with legal issues, competing through globalization, entering international markets, offshoring and reshoring, meaning sending things out or bringing things back in. Competing through technology, consider social networking, LinkedIn, etc., using HRIS, Human Resource Information Systems, mobile devices, cloud computing, HR dashboards. You have this dashboard on there's a ribbon on your computer. Click a button, run a report. How many men? How many women? What is the average salary? What is the average age of a mid-level executive, for example? Consider high-performance work systems and virtual teams. Competitive challenges influencing human resources. Sustainability. Competition sustainability means relating to social responsibility, meaning this is the unwritten responsibility that businesses have towards society. Also refers to the company's ability to meet its needs without sacrificing the ability of future generations to meet their needs. You're not going to kill the environment so that, yeah, it's great for us now, but in 50 years from now, when there's smog, can't function, that's not good either. Companies must meet the needs of its stakeholders, and stakeholders is any group of individuals or a group of multiple individual groups that have a claim on the organization, such as the employees, such as the environment, such as the government, etc. Sustainability includes the ability to deal with economic and social changes, practice environmental responsibility, engage in responsible and ethical business practices, provide high-quality products and services, put in place methods to determine if the company is meeting the stakeholder needs or if it's deficient. Deal with workforce and employment implications of the economy. Skill demands for jobs have changed, so you have to always make sure that you can identify which employees have skills, have a system where you can vet resumes, have recruitment drives. Remaining competitive in a global economy requires demanding work hours and changes in traditional employment patterns. Gone is the world of 9 to 5. The economy is not growing, although unemployment rate is below 5%. Wage growth has been uneven. Labor productivity fell in 2009. HR practices that enhance labor productivity, improving the design of work and the use of technology, upskilling employees through training, managing performance and compensation to incentivize and motivate workers to work smarter and harder, raising pay and focusing on learning. Labor force and employment characteristics. Population is the most important factor in determining the size and composition of the labor force. Growth is slowing. Labor force is aging. Diversity is increasing. Service sector is growing. Education is important to meet job requirements. Shortage of qualified candidates. That's why you have to be very, very competitive. And it's costly, especially in the medical field. If you're hiring a nurse practitioner, a PA, it's expensive. You know how much a PA makes in New York City? Between $115,000 and $150,000 a year. Okay, it's good salary. The same is true pretty much, give or take, for a nurse practitioner. And you can't offer less than what everyone else is paying because no one's going to even look at your ad on Monster or Indeed or in ZipRecruiter. It also, competitive challenges influencing human resource management, understand and enhance the value placed on intangible assets and human capital. 3 types of assets: financial, cash and securities; physical assets, property, plant and equipment; and intangible assets, such as your smarts, what people know, your proprietary information. Human capital, tacit knowledge, education, work-related know-how, work-related competence. Customer capital, customer relationship, brands, customer loyalty, and distribution channels, whether you have them or you don't have them. Social capital, corporate culture, management philosophy, management practices, informal networking systems, coaching, mentoring relationships, which is so important. You have to have people that coach people that are not as good at something. Don't criticize. Don't say you're bad. Coach. Intellectual capital, patents, copyrights, trade secrets, intellectual property. Have a new idea that belongs to the organization. Understand and enhance the value placed on intangible. Knowledge workers contribute specialized knowledge. Share knowledge and collaboration on solutions. In demand because companies need their skills, and jobs requiring them is a growing need now. Emphasize empowerment and continuous learning. Empowerment is important. You don't want to be the type of manager that is overbearing. Give people room to make decisions. So give them responsibility, give employees responsibility and authority. Hold them accountable. It's very important to know who's responsible for what. Because if I tell everybody, okay, I want this done, everyone's going to say, well, he didn't mean me. Did he mean me? Maybe he meant you. You give instructions, you tell the person you are responsible for X, Y, and Z. Employees share in rewards and losses. Learning organization, an organization that is predicated on the premise of learning and improving skills. Any questions? I'm either doing a great job or you're really too tired to ask questions. I prefer to think that I'm doing a good job, so I'm going to remain with that. Okay, judging by everyone saying yes, 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 I will go with that. Adapt to change. It's inevitable. Change is happening. Like it or don't like it. Get on the train or stay at the station. Stay at the platform. Employees expected to take more responsibility for their own careers. Challenge is how to build a committed, productive workforce in this environment. People are so fluid and there's lack of loyalty. It's a big challenge. Maximize employee engagement. Passionate about his or her work. It's so important to love what you do. Commitment to the company and its mission. Works hard to contribute. Always thinking of ways. You want an employee that's like a boss, that's like an owner. And I go in an interview, I say, what's special about what you bring to the, what special thing do you bring to the table? I said, I treat the job as if I'm in charge, and it makes a difference if I show up and I do my job, because if I don't do my job, I am losing money from my own pocket, just as an owner looks at it that way. It's measured with attitude or opinion surveys. Table 1.7 talks about common themes of employee engagement: pride in an employer, you want to feel good about who you work for; satisfaction with the employer, satisfaction with the job; opportunity to perform challenging work. Nobody wants to do boring filing or scanning. Imagine if your job was to scan documents all day. Has anybody ever had that job, scanning documents all day?
For one day.
For one day. And after that one day, what did you feel like?
I wanted to kill myself.
Okay, well said. It's probably the sentiment of most people doing that kind of work. Unfortunately, it can get very tedious and boring. Recognition and positive feedback. People need that. Especially the younger generation. I love saying that. Younger generation thrives on feedback. They need that feedback. The millennials need to feel that they're valued. They need to know what's your status. Just look at Facebook. My gosh, what's your status? I went to the bathroom. Who cares? I changed my shoes. Who cares? Status. Where are you now? Did you go here? Did you go there? Status picture. How many of you look at people's status pictures? I never understood that with my kids. Dad, can I have your phone? Let me look at your status. Everyone's status pictures. People want to see what's going on. What are your status stories? What's new in your life? Personal support from manager. People need that. Effort above and beyond the minimum, which is very much required in order to be competitive in today's difficult environment. Understand link between one's job and company's mission, and see how your job fits into that mission. Prospects for future growth within the company. Can I retire here? You need to have that in mind when you go work for an organization. Is this the place where I could actually stay here for 30 years? It may not happen. Probably won't, but is it possible? Intention to stay with the company. That's an important thing. Manage talent, acquiring and assessing employees, learning and development, performance management. Compensation, paying them properly. Consider non-traditional employment at the gig economy. Between 20 to 35 of the total U.S. workforce. Workers set their own schedule and do not work for a company. Offers flexibility. Gig economy means, you know what a gig is? You're a musician, I got a gig, I got a job. So it's kind of like this fluid kind of thing. You need to make work flexible for people. And the more flexible work is, the better off you are. We spoke about this in online education. Why is online education so attractive? You tell me. Why do people like online? Why do people like zooming in?
Easily accessible.
It's what?
Easily accessible.
That's right. And what else does it do for your schedule?
You don't have to be committed to go to a certain place at a certain time.
That's right.
On your own hour.
That's right. So if I let you zoom in, or if I have a live podcast, wherever you are, you open your phone and you're there. Provides flexibility to help employees meet work and life demands. Somebody has an elderly parent they have to watch once a week. Okay, while they're sleeping or resting, I'm able to do work. 46% of employees work more than 45 hours per week. You look at that one. I work at an average of 60 hours a week. 60 to 65 hours a week. Only half of the employees in the U.S. believe they have the flexibility they need to successfully manage their work and personal or family lives. I work where I work because I know that it's flexible. If I need to take an hour off to do something for myself, I could. I know that Turo is flexible. If I need to do something for my job, I can open up my computer and just look up my email without getting a call from HR. Why are you looking at your emails right now? You're on company time. I could not work in a workplace like that, and most people could not. So what's the solution if people feel that it's inflexible? Create flexibility, flexible work schedules, work at home arrangements, which is very good, especially with people who just had a baby. Okay? Protecting employees' free time, not invading, not sending emails at 12 o'clock at night like they do in certain companies, which I won't mention, and getting mad at you if you don't answer. Free time, and more productively using employees' work time. Competitive challenge influencing of human resources does it meet the need of stakeholders, shareholders, customers, employees, and community? Demonstrates performance to stakeholders, the balanced scorecard, being customer service focused, improving quality, emphasizing teamwork, reducing new product and service development times, managing for the long term. Table 1.8, the balanced scorecard, a couple of questions on the customer side. How do customers see us? Examples of critical business indicators: time, quality, performance, service cost. Critical HR indicators in the customer: employee satisfaction with HR department services, employee perceptions of the company as an employer. If you don't have good perceptions of the employer, how are you going to be the servicer of the customer? The employee is the customer, is the ultimate customer of the organization, before the customer on the outside. And look at the rest of table 1.8 for yourselves. Competitive challenges influencing human resource management. Demonstrates social responsibility. Helps boost the company's image with customers, gain access to new markets, and help attract and retain talented employees. Companies try to meet shareholders and general public demands that they be more socially, ethically, and environmentally responsible. They don't hurt the environment. They help, Habitat for Humanity. They'll go out on the weekends to build homeless shelters, build new housing for people that don't have money, go, coach a little league game, do something for society.